I am welcoming Caatherine Dellerba. She's a candidate for Ward 1. Welcome, Caatherine.
Good morning, Marj, and thank you for hosting me.
Okay, you're very welcome. Caatherine, I'm looking forward to hearing the responses to some questions I have sent you. I'm asking you to respond to each question within 2 minutes. Let's get started. First question, how would you describe the value of our heritage, and how would you like to see Richmond Hills 150th anniversary celebrated next year?
That's a great question, Marj. Thank you for asking. As you know, Richmond Hill is filled with a rich heritage of beautiful suburban green space, a multitude of wonderful people from diverse cultures, ethnicities, and backgrounds. And what was once a midway stop for those traveling north from Toronto is now a place where we all call home and where we live, work, serve, and play. People can live and raise their families in different dwelling places, which can meet their needs. They go to school. We have 3 of the top 5 schools in Ontario right here in Richmond Hill. They can find work in the bustling metropolis in either big or small businesses. They are able to serve one another in a multitude of nonprofit organizations and play with friends and family through sports, in the arts, nature, exploring the trails, and being able to relax in many of our 162 parks and green spaces. So I think celebrating all that would be important. And I would like to see us celebrate our 150th anniversary by offering diverse tours throughout the year to some of our amazing attractions. We're home to Canada's largest telescope, as you know. So how about a tour of the stars throughout the year? Every month there's a highlight. Do you prefer the performing arts? Perhaps we have a highlighted event every month in at our beautiful theatre. What about cycling? We prefer to cycle. What about cycling on the 2nd highest bike lanes per capita city in the world? Have a tour of Richmond Hill. What about a historical perspective? Let's get the Heritage Society in every month celebrating the history of Richmond Hill. We want to get to know other cultures. I could imagine every month an evening of cultural diversity. So these are just some of the ideas I have, Marj, of how we can celebrate this beautiful place we call home.
Thank you. Our second question. The majority of Richmond Hill residents are very car dependent. This has us with a large carbon footprint, thus contributing to the degradation of our environment. Do you see us resigned to live like this? Would you support changes to municipal zoning rules to prevent non-residential uses in areas that are now strictly residential? Should new subdivisions be designed differently?
Yeah, Marj, the world we live in is changing for sure. And I believe that there's room for all residents to live side by side, to enjoy the benefits that are offered through the various transportation options within the transit system throughout the town of Richmond Hill. And I would absolutely support changes to the municipal zoning rules to fit into the overall planning of the city, so that we can meet both the residents' needs, as you know, housing is a big need, and being able to steward the green space that we have. I believe we must design subdivisions in ways that meet the lifestyles of those who want to eliminate cars. So, for example, condos where there could be shared cars for residents who may need a car on the weekend, or building businesses where people can work, live, and play within the community they reside, which eliminates the need for a long commute and putting pressure on the system as we know it. COVID showed us that many people are able to work from home and reduce dependency on cars. So specifically in Oak Ridge's Ward 1, with our 5 magnificent kettle lakes, our 1,000 acres of protected green space, and the Moraine, which is a source of the 3 big rivers in southern Ontario, the Don, the Humber, and the Rouge rivers, I think we need to be conscious of how do we keep our waterways clean and healthy, including the storm surges. I know that Richmond Hill has a good plan with the 80,000 or so collection storm points, but it is an overall plan that is needed to manage our resources to be able to engage and adapt with the changing dynamics of the environment.
Very good. Question 3. What do you see as Richmond Hill's vulnerabilities?
Well, Marj, in your first question, I highlighted some of the amazing aspects in our beautiful city. And like with anything, there's always opportunities and ways to improve on what is currently there. And I think some practical vulnerabilities which we currently have include I've spoken to a lot of residents, and they are charged with parking fines. They pay taxes to the town of Richmond Hill, and yet they live on the street where they live. They can't park their cars. So I think we need to resolve that. I think we have safety issues that need immediate resolution, both in terms of increased crime and on major roads where speed is an issue. I hear that from residents all the time. I would not like something serious to happen before we say, oh, we should have done something. But I'm trying to put it into the time that I have. I think last and definitely not least, one of our big vulnerabilities at the moment is the town of council of Richmond Hill. In fact, that is the reason why I put my name forward to run in this election, is to help bring some change to the council, especially here in Ward 1 in Oak Ridges, where the current councillor has served 16 years. I think the council needs fresh ideas, new people, and change. And I understand it's not easy to put one's name forward and to serve as a public servant. So no disrespect to our amazing public servants, but any position in any company for 16 years, one can become stale. And we cannot have politicking, games, and grandstanding on council. As elected representatives, we're paid by the taxpayers of Richmond Hill, and I believe they deserve better. Their voices need to be heard. Their issues need to be resolved, and councillors should live in the ward they represent to see what is going on in everyday life. But not to do away with the amazing town we have. I do think that there's some things that need solving.
Very good. Thank you. Imagine there was a lottery for municipalities and Richmond Hill won $50 million. How would you like to see it spent?
Marj, I spent a long time thinking about this question, brainstorming what we could do with this amount of money. And I'm hoping that you're going to tell me when I'm elected that you've got the money for me to spend. No, seriously, I believe, well, firstly, we should address some of the vulnerabilities I reflected on in your previous question. And I would like to, with the staff of Richmond Hill Town Council and the residents, be creative in finding solutions like, one, eliminating parking tickets, creating zones, for example, where in some cities on odd days, one parks on one side of the street, on an even day you park on the right side, or increasing buffer zones where extended bike lanes can be used for street parking. I definitely believe that we should be addressing crime, and there's some communities that have the neighborhood community watch, which is working well, and I'd like to see that extended to all communities. So there'd be another spending. Regarding speed and street racing, I think we can come up with creative ways of slowing down traffic with red light cameras, instant speed flashing, rubber barriers on key streets, and much needed stop signs on some streets. And then I would love to use some of the money, obviously, for celebration for next year, which I already mentioned. And I would want to build a few dog parks, Marj. A lot of residents wish that we had some more dog parks. They only cost around 350,000. So there's definitely space in your 50 million. And finally, a celebration of the diversity in our town, as I mentioned, through festivals, which would be advertised and hosted by different cultures. I think would be a great way to keep building the community of Richmond Hill and spending the money wisely. It is a wonderful question you had.
Thank you. Okay, let's move into the second portion of these candidate conversations. I have 7 fun facts to ask you. They're to be answered quickly and with a smile. First,
Okay.
Are you a tea or coffee drinker?
Any other time of the day.
Okay. Do you prefer ebooks or real books?
Easy, real paper books with that delicious book smell that only book readers know.
Okay. Do you say ketchup or catsup?
Ketchup, because I live in Canada, but because I'm from South Africa, we call it tomato sauce or tomato sauce. So yeah,
Okay.
it depends who I'm talking to.
Okay. What is your ideal place for a vacation?
A house on the beach, so I can walk on the beach every day. listen to the sound of the waves, feel the healing of the salt water, and see the vast ocean and skies.
Oh,
That's
okay,
the
sounds
best.
good. Sounds good. Okay. Do you have a Mac or a PC?
I wasn't sure how to answer, so I'm going to be judged. I have a Mac, but that's also so we can have different operating systems in our home.
Okay. What is your favorite vegetable?
Anything green and leafy because it's so versatile, goes with anything. It tastes great cooked in a salad. Cooked or in a salad, should I
Salad,
say? Cooked or
yes.
in a salad.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Green leafy.
Last question. Have you ever played pickleball?
No, I haven't played it, but I've watched many hours of it at the community centers, and I think I'd really like it because it's kind of a mixture of ping pong, tennis, and badminton. So it is on my bucket list, Marge.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Caatherine, I enjoyed our conversation. I wish you well with this campaign and hope to see you around town soon.
Thank you as always, Marge. I enjoy chatting with you.